Welcome back. I've got a Blu-ray update for you guys, and it's a long one. I've got a lot of stuff. Haven't gotten around to watching everything, but the stack has gotten so large that I just can't avoid doing the video at this point. I mean, as you know, I like to watch all this movies and special features before I talk about them, but there's just too much here. So let's dive into it. First up, 88 films released for Witchcraft. David Hasselhoff and Linda Blair are in this. It's a decent watch. A guy named Fabrizio Lorente directed this, who also did Crawlers. A lot of good special features on this one. Haven't. It's been a long time since I've watched this one. As I recall, Linda Blair wasn't. I don't think Linda Blair is that good an actress, I guess, bottom line. But it's got David Hasselhoff, who's even worse, right? So anyway, I'll check this out at some point. It's been probably 6 years since I've actually watched the movie. All right, next up, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put all. I've got stacks to show you, and I don't know where I can stack the stuff that I have showed you. So let me put it right there. Next up, the collector's edition of Tales from the Dark Side, directed by John Harrison. This is a decent anthology. I really like Debbie Harry as Blondie is in this, and kind of a wraparound story. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the stories. This has got an audio commentary track with the director. It's a good release. I definitely recommend it. Tales from the Dark Side. Definitely give that a 7 out of 10. Next up is another one I've seen the movie a few times, but I haven't watched this release, and that's the Criterion of La Belle La Bête, Beauty and the Beast. This is to me the definitive story. Beautiful film. It's a masterpiece. I plan on covering it in my Criterion series after I watch this, but yeah, can't wait to get into this one. Highly recommend. If you haven't seen this movie, you got to jump on it. 10 out of 10. Alright, next up is a film that I just finished watching, and it's a Shudder exclusive, and that's 2020's The Host, directed by Ray Savage. I'm not sure if that's his real name or not. Let me check here. Yeah, I'm not sure. That name just sounds too fake, but to believable. But we're gonna go with it. Host is basically a seance held over a Zoom call, and the only thing I can tell you is that it's full of very predictable jump scares and sounds and noises, and it's just not very good. It's just not very good. It's obviously geared towards young teens and 20-somethings, but yeah. Rob Savage also did Girls on Film, which I thought was pretty good, actually. But yeah, this is just I give it a 5 out of 10, and I'm going to give it a full point because it's only an hour. So that should tell you everything about what I thought of it. I can't believe Second Sight put this much effort into this film. I mean, look at this. There's a nice thick booklet. I mean, there's multiple audio commentaries on this thing. Lobby cards. And I don't really get the hype for this, but I would definitely recommend just watching this on Shudder. Not it's a nice release, but the movie's not good. Okay. Next up is the one that's probably going to get some raised eyebrows when I talk about this one, and that's Gaspar Noir's Irreversible. This is the Powerhouse Indicator release. Where do I start? This is a rough film. This is a very rough film. And not just because of the subject matter. The subject matter, it's a basic rape revenge story. But there's more going on here, particularly with regard to the techniques used by Gaspar Noé. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Noé. I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. I just didn't like it. Rape revenge films, to me, it's weird to even talk about this like I like them, but I do like them. But I like them for the revenge element, because when the revenge element comes in and the bad guys get what's coming to them, that payoff is what I'm looking for when I watch these films. And that's a problem here. The other problem, the bigger problem with this film in my eyes, is his use of camera techniques. Maybe he thought using a swirling camera. The first 30 minutes you're just in this swirling roller coaster ride, like the camera's just going like this, and it's hard to get your bearings and your focus, which obviously was his intent. But that quote unquote sophisticated camera technique, I think, sucks. I think it's just bad. It's bad filming. I just don't think it's very good. So I was extremely underwhelmed in most categories on this film. I give it a 6 out of 10. I'm obviously going to rewatch it. There's a lot of special features here, audio commentaries and things that I'm going to check out. So this will get another shot at bat, but I'm really, really underwhelmed with this film. And this is part of the the French trilogy. So anyway, great release though. Nice release. Looked great. Just didn't like it. Okay. Next up, we're gonna do I think it's a Vinegar Syndrome release for the Homegrown Horrors Set Volume 1. Nice release. Great box art. I love the box art on this thing. Let's see. First up is Winter Beast. I have a soft spot in my heart for stop motion animation, and this film really tries to do that. All three of these films are low budget, essentially amateur efforts, but there's a lot to like about Winter Beast. It's low budget, but the acting is surprisingly good, or at least effective. Maybe not good and I love the stop motion animation in this. So I give Winter Beast a 6 out of 10. I really liked it. Really, really liked it. And that Winter Beast is directed by, let me see here, Christopher Thies. Looks like that's all he ever did. That's a shame, because I liked Winter Beast. Next up is one I didn't like at all. Fatal Exam. And Fatal Exam, I tried to take into account when I'm watching these that the limited resources available to these guys and the spirit of working in an amateur setting. But this is bad. And this commits the fatal sin of being too long. It's too self-indulgent. It's 2 hours. And it should be maybe an hour, maybe. There was a lot of extended exposition scenes that just drags on and on and on. And the kills aren't even, I mean, even though it's an amateur effort, the kills are just crap. It's bad. I give it a 2 out of 10. Next up is Beyond Dream's Door. This one I give a 6 out of 10. It's inspired. You can tell it's inspired by a little bit on Nightmare on Elm Street, combined with, say, Hellraiser. I appreciate the effort. I think its biggest shortcoming was the special effects. The special effects really were bad, and the film was shot. They could have done better, I think, from a lighting perspective to kind of hide the flaws in this film. Anyway, I give it a 6 out of 10. Not a bad set. Kind of a fun one-time watch here. So that's the Homegrown Horrors, Volume 1. I guess Vinegar Syndrome is going to be putting out more of those since they labeled that Volume 1. Alright, next up's another Vin Sin, and that is All American Murder with Christopher Walken playing this cop. Kind of like a Scorpio, his version of Scorpio. Al Pacino, Scorpio. You know, he wears a leather jacket and he's just kind of a badass, kind of like a Charles Bronson type deal. It's a fun ride. It's a decent film. It's cheesy. It's got a made for TV feel for it, but I thought it was good. Decent one-time watch. The director's a guy named Anson Williams, who mainly did dramas, it looks like. So it definitely feels like it's made for TV. Alright. Next up is another Vin Sin. Let me see here what I got. It's hard to remember all this stuff. Grave Secrets, 1989. This one's got kind of a bottom slip. This is a haunted house film. Kind of along the lines of The Entity, with a woman being haunted from her past. The problem is that nothing much happens for the first hour until David Warner shows up. So by that time, you've kind of lost interest in it. I thought it was really dull. Donald Borchers directed this thing. He also did Children of the Corn, I think the remake. Yeah, not good. I give it a 5 out of 10. Vinegar Syndrome does a great job of these releases, but man, the films that they're digging up are really just not, honestly, not really worth the effort. I mean, to be brutally frank, I just don't think some of these films are worth the effort to restore like this. And of course, this slipcover, it's fucked up. The slipcover, the way it's going on, it's tearing up the plastic. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so that's Grave Secrets. Not a fan of that one either. It gets worse, guys. Sorry. Now we're doing Vinegar Syndrome's The Cellar. Kind of a similarity to Sean Cunningham's The Original House film, but not nearly as entertaining. I give this a 4 out of 10. It takes too. I guess it's another one. It just takes too long to get going, and the acting is flat, uninspired, not good at all. Kevin Tenney, I just don't think Kevin Tenney. He's kind of even when he's done good films or only B grade. I just don't think he's a very good director. Night of the Demons and Witchboards is probably his best one, but yeah, not good. Pacing is horrible. So I give this a 4 out of 10. Hopefully we're going to get to something good here. Now we're going to get to something good. Mondo Macabro's Hunting Ground. I mean, I admit it, and I've said it when I talked about Irreversible. I'm a sucker for rape revenge flicks, and this one delivers the goods big time, particularly in the last 20 minutes. The stage is set with this liberal, humanistic lawyer, which is a kind of a misnomer anyway. And anyway, she's the defense attorney, and she finally comes face to face with some really harsh realities about the criminal mind in the last 45 minutes. The only problem I think is we could have probably sped this thing up a little bit in the first 45 minutes, but overall good stuff. I give it a 7 out of 10. Jose Gra did a great job. This is a great release, by the way. It's got it's got a booklet, and it's got a number of special features, including an interview with the director. So yeah, this is a good release from Mondo. This is spine number 787 out of 1200. Next up is, whoops, can't show that. Paul Naschy's The Howl of the Devil. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Howl of the Devil. And this is Naschy's kind of his homage to Universal Horror, which kind of got him started in this whole werewolf thing. It was made in 1987, kind of at the back end of his career. He plays a washed-up actor that kind of, he's got a penchant for torturing women, bringing them into his mansion, and dressing up in all these old Universal Horror roles, kind of thing. It's a decent love letter to the horror genre and classic monsters, but overall it's particularly his version of Frankenstein. He looks terrible as Frankenstein, by the way. This has a commentary with the Naschy cast. So yeah, I mean, it's a great release. I definitely recommend the release. It's his number 891 out of 1500. I give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, next up is we're going back to Scream Factory now. Behind the Mask, Leslie Vernon, 2006. A great, thoroughly entertaining spoof on the slasher genre. 8 out of 10. Listen to the special features. There's a number of special features on here. Great release. Highly recommend this one. 8 out of 10. Big fan of this one. I think the black humor works, which is kind of rare, actually. I think horror comedies for me in general are misses, but that one works. That one works for me. Next up is Massacre in Central High, and I've got 2 copies of this. I don't know how that happened. Can't explain it, but I got 2 copies. Oh, I can't show the back of this, but anyway, this is a grindhouse 70s exploitation flick about some high school kids. A kid is getting bullied in high school, and then he basically, it ends up being, as you would predict, a revenge story. It's relatively tame, and it's a decent one-time watch. I give it a 5 out of 10. I probably, there's a cult following for this, but I don't know. I was okay with it. I just didn't love it. Nice release, though. Synapse did a really good job on this release. Steelbook. So yeah, definitely recommend the release. It's a little expensive. It's like $50, something like that. So yeah, that's Massacre at Central High. A lot of special features, including the director. They did a good job of giving you the backstory to that production. All right. Next up is 10 to Midnight with Charles Bronson. Classic slasher film from the Cannon Group. One of their better Cannon Group films. I really liked it. And the guy that plays the killer in this was also in Cruising. He did a good job on that. But he runs around, basically he runs around naked with a butcher knife killing people. And then Charles Bronson, of course, has to stop him. Joffrey Lewis, he was really... Gene Davis was the guy that played the killer in this, and he's really good in it. 10 to Midnight, highly recommend it. 7 out of 10. Alright, next up we've got... I told you this was going to be long. Cherry Falls with Brittany Murphy and Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn plays a cop, and Brittany Murphy played... This is... one of the comparisons I'd make on this is modern day slashers would be with Valentine. And when I look at the characters, the young 20-somethings in this film compared to, say, Valentine, these, particularly Brittany Murphy, just feels much more real than just pretty people that come off the cover of a magazine. I just felt like the acting is much better in this film. I give it a 7 out of 10. Cherry Falls is a really good slasher film. Next up is The Strangers, which I revisited this finally. Really like it. Classic film. I give it a 9 out of 10. It's tense. It's well acted. There's a few moments that are kind of questionable in my eyes, but I was surprised that some of the camera. One of the things that may be a negative about it, I thought some of the camera work was kind of found footage style and didn't work. But I liked it overall. I think it's a solid, superior horror film. Definitely recommend it. Next up, we got Vinegar Syndrome release, 1985's The Fear, straight-to-video film about a mannequin that terrorizes a group of people. The acting is what you would expect from kind of the Sci-Fi Channel. It's really kind of a copycat of a much better film, the Canadian film Pin. I'd give this a 4 out of 10, but I would, if you like this film, go watch Pin. That's way better than this. 4 out of 10 on that one. Next up is Hitcher in the Dark. This is another one that's a big miss for me. A psychotic young man kills women that resemble his mom, basically. Umberto Lenzi directed it, and it's probably my least favorite. I just don't think it's very good at all. The acting isn't very good. It's the story's kind of flat, and the ending is although Lenzi talks about this in his special features, that the ending he blames on the producers. But I don't think if you'd have changed the ending, it would have saved the film anyway. This is just a bad movie. 4 out of 10. All right, let's see what else we got here. Got box sets. Let's start with The Tremors. The original Tremors is a classic movie, and this is a fantastic release. This is a must-own from Arrow. Love it. Looks pristine, and there's endless hours and hours and hours. I can attest to it because I went through the whole thing of special features, making of documentaries. I mean, you'll spend, if you go through the whole thing like I did, you'll spend a good week going through it like I did. It's just endless. Tremendous release. Let's see. Let me do a few box sets I haven't even gotten into yet. Here's the Dungeon of Andy Milligan set, which I don't know why I bought this, other than I think it's going to be worth something down the road. It does have a nice booklet, really extensive booklet. I think Stephen Thrower wrote this one. And then the films are very much like in the style of some of the other Severin releases that they did, box sets, the Al Adamson set. You've got it kind of like sleeves. Each film is in a sleeve. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to go into this one. These are such a... I mean, you have to really be in the mood for some bad movies to watch these. I don't have much of a love affair for Andy Milligan. Next up is a set I hadn't even opened yet. That's a Tsukamoto set, and this is the... all the films of the Metal Nightmares set. I've seen 2 of these. I haven't seen all of them. Strange stuff. Kind of a Japanese Cronenberg body horror type deal. Yeah, I haven't checked out all of it. I've seen Iron Man. That was good. Tetsuo Iron Man. I have not opened this yet. I Know What You Did Last Summer trilogy. This is from look, this is 88. Is this 88? Yeah, 88 film set. Uh, I like all those. Yep, I just dropped it. threw it over there. Anyway, yeah, I like all those films pretty good. All right, next up is the Forgotten Gialli set, Volume 3. This is Volume 3 of the Forgotten Gialli set, Vinegar Syndrome. Let us start with Autopsy. Autopsy. This is Armando Crispino. This is the jewel of the set right here. A series of apparent murder-suicides sends a cop on a mission to solve them. It's excellent. It's really sleazy. 7 out of 10. Definitely recommend this one. Let's see. Murder Mansion. I'm going to kind of fall in the 5 out of 10 category on this one. This is a very tedious murder for money plot, which is it's really another one where you got an hour before anything really happens. It's kind of hard to call this a gialli, but I give it a 5 out of 10. And then the final one in the set was The Crazy Desires of a Murderer. This one I give a 6 out of 10. It's kind of this is a second tier gialli. It's another murder for money scheme. The killer has a fetish for gouging out the victim's eyes, which is interesting. Acting was a bit flat, but yeah, 6 out of 10. Overall it's a good set. It's definitely recommend buying it. It's a great box set. Getting to the end here, believe it or not. Cthulhu Mansion, 1991. This is a slow-moving haunted house film for Vinegar Syndrome that finally picks up in the last 30 minutes. 5 out of 10. Pretty forgettable. Kind of another example of the glut of 90 film. Jean-Pierre Simon. I like him as a director, but yeah, I don't know what happened in the 90s. The 90s just, we ended up with just a lot of bad horror movies in the 90s. Let's see. Dark Tower is next. Let me see here if I can pull it up. It's been a while since I watched some of this stuff. Dark Tower is 1989. 6 out of 10, mainly because of Michael Moriarty. It's a creepy tale, actually, and it's got a good payoff ending. So overall, I actually think Dark Tower is a decent watch. 6 out of 10. And then I've talked about this one. I set a separate video, and that's Wrong Turn, the reboot, if you will. Really, it's Wrong Turn in name only. But I think it's a good film, and I think if you can get past kind of the shove it in your face social justice commentary crap, and obviously that's in our day and age, kind of the social commentary stuff is getting to be so predictable. You can almost say when you start a movie, particularly a horror movie, today's horror movie, you're going to get, the gay couple. You can go down the list and check the boxes. It's so predictable. But if you can get past that, say the first 30 minutes, and the fact that the characters are so unlikable and disposable, then I think this is a decent film. Particularly the last 45 minutes. I liked it. So not earth shattering, but I give it a 7 out of 10. Matthew Modine was pretty good in it. Finally, we're at the end, and I've got a few things to show you here. I got all 3 of the Columbia Noir sets. This is volume 3, and I have not gotten into these yet, but I can't wait to do that. This is really nice stuff. I like how they did these as like mini books. And then you've got this huge tome talking about the films. I haven't watched any of these yet. But like I say, the stacks for this update was getting so bad. I had to go ahead and do this. I don't even know. I think you can get Volume 3 still. I don't know that you can even get. So here's the other two. This is Volume 1, Volume 2. So I got all. I've just bit the bullet and bought all three. Looking forward to these. These. All of them are in the same format. You've got the kind of the mini book. I like the feel of these two. These are solid, nice set. Indicator just does such a great job with their stuff. Okay, well, that is going to do it for this update. It was lengthy. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, you've seen any of these films, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.